Kavitta, and I like to believe that I'm someone who's working towards skilling the next generation. That's what I'm really passionate about. So I work in the student space where I work with identifying skill sets for students and then helping them create the best version for themselves. Currently, I'm working with school students who are aiming to pursue higher education overseas, but in the past have worked with a varied range of students. And one of the most important things of when we look at what we're doing is how the world perceives us, right? It's in that first split second that you decide whether this person is worth your time or not. So today's class is all about brand you. What are the things that you must take care of when you're appearing in any interaction? So, whether it's a webinar like this, whether it's a job interview, whether it's an interview for a student council, whether you're talking to the principal of your school, these are just simple things that if we remember, we learn about, we become very effective communicators and so become fabulous brand you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now and take you through a quick presentation. As I'm going through the presentation, if you have a burning question, you can ask that question. If it's a question that can stay for later, feel free to note it down or put it in the chat box. Otherwise, once the presentation is over, we will have a free-flowing Q&A session at the end of the workshop. Does that work for everybody? Great. So now let's just jump in and see what do we have here. So is my screen visible to everyone? Maybe one of you can just unmute and confirm to me, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you. So welcome to this session that I hope I'm sharing what I know, and I hope it will add value to creating an immensely powerful brand you. The first part of any great communication is setting the stage. What really do you mean by setting the stage? Earlier, it was uncomplicated because everything was in person and there was only one right way to do it. However, in today's complex world, apart from in person interactions, we also interact very many times, in fact, increasingly, and it's not going anywhere, is through the digital medium. So today, whatever communication instructions I share with you is both for in-person as well as digital communication. So starting off with digital communication, what are the things we must take care of when we're talking about digital communication? It is essential to properly prepare for a Zoom meeting. Can you see both those images? You have to get set right. What are some of the things that may seem obvious, but most people don't do, which put you at a disadvantage right from the beginning? Be seated before the call begins. Ensure that the lighting is correct. The background is neat, clean, and presentable. The camera is focused to include your face as well as your upper body, which includes your shoulders. All distractions like siblings, pets, grandparents are kept away. And background noise should never be audible in a formal digital interaction. What about appearance? A lot of times we talk about appearances are deceptive, appearances are what they seem, appearances are what decides whether a person is going to click with you or not. All of those are right because appearances are truly, truly important when you are interacting with people, whether it's on a digital medium or it's one-to-one in person. So on the digital medium, I've tried to make it a little funny, but it's obvious that you need to be well groomed. The part of you that is visible must be properly attired and you must dress for the occasion. However, when we're meeting somebody in person, these are 10 tips that you must remember every time to ace your appearance. Number one, always wear iron clothes. Nobody likes to meet a person looking shabby, dirty, who is just sort of rolled out of bed. Second, your hair must be combed neatly. It doesn't matter if you're sporting the latest punk hairstyle or your hair is colored purple. Whatever your look is, comb it neatly for any formal interaction that you're doing. Shine your shoes. Wash your canvas shoes. They should be clean. Again, a very obvious tip, but believe you me, when you walk into a room with dirty shoes versus clean shoes, you have made an impression on the person you're interacting with. Do not wear excessive jewelry, and this is true both for boys and girls. Please keep your jewelry for all the weddings you need to attend and all the socializing you need to do. Dress smart, have little jewelry on that showcases who you are, what your style is, but you don't need to wear your entire jewelry cupboard for every formal interaction you're going to. Another tip that you need to remember is wear matching color of the belt and shoes. So black belt, black shoes, brown belt, brown shoes. If you really don't have matching shoes and belts, that's fine. It's not something to get a sleepless night over. But when you are shopping next and you can invest some resources into it, please go ahead and make this investment for your next formal interaction. For girls, do not wear party heels for a formal meeting or an interview. Keep those for the discotheques and your partying and your raves and whatever else you're going for. Here, wear sensible heels if you must. Also, there is now this cool culture to wear sports shoes with everything. But for your formal interactions, be it an interview, be it an in person formal meeting, do not wear sports shoes with formal attire. Another cool thing in fashion is torn jeans. Again, keep it for your friends and family. Do not wear torn clothing of any kind for any formal interaction. The next one is nails. Often we see people with chipped nail polish. We see nails that are not cut and clean. This again is a big giveaway to how important you're considering the meeting. So please, nails should be cut and clean before any formal appearance that you do. And lastly, do not wear excessive makeup. Makeup is nice to wear to enhance your features, but when it overpowers who you are, then it becomes a problem. Unless, of course, you are going to interview for, say, to become a personal makeup advisor and are joining Nykaa, then go ahead and wear the latest purple eyeshadow that they have launched. But otherwise, most of us are not fashionistas, and we're not going to go and join fashion profiles. So for any formal interaction, wear makeup that makes you look nice, makes you look presentable, gives you the confidence, but do not go overboard. And this is true for both boys and girls, because yes, I know even boys enjoy wearing makeup nowadays. This was all the physical bits of it that you need to remember. But what happens when you're nicely groomed, all of this is thought of, and you walk in confidently? That's when you open your mouth. And that's where you need a lot of preparation and tips and tricks to ace all your communication. So let's take a look at practice and preparation that is needed to create a great brand you. And this is something that a lot of people, students, don't pay much attention to. Unfortunately, these days, there is this lot of, there's a theory of let's wing it. Let's quickly learn, let's learn the least possible. Let's not work hard. But remember, there is no substitute for hard work, and there is no substitute for practice and preparation for effective, impactful communication. That is the key to your success. So, what are some things that we need to do to prepare? Of course, one is you ensure your equipment is prepared. So, for all your interactions, you want to make sure your computers are charged, you're sitting in a place that is well lit. You also want to make sure that the medium that you're using for communication, you have tested before. You don't want to be saying, oh, but where's the mute button? Oh, but where's the screen? So all of that has to be tested and done before. The second part of it is ensure that you are prepared. And how is it that you can prepare? You prepare from various things. You practice. When you practice, you try various presentation styles. So you can look at a mirror and practice. You can record on your phone and practice. You can ask a friend, a teacher, a mentor, a buddy to listen to you as you rehearse some answers to, questions, to a presentation, to anything that you're working on presenting. The second is formulate your communication. No one has the time to listen beyond a certain point. So it's very important to be concise, it's very important to be precise, and it's very important to know exactly what you're going to say. Choose your words carefully so that they make the maximum impact. The third, be confident about your content. So when you're talking on any topic, please make sure that you have gone in depth in that topic. Why is it that we believe what comes out of certain people's mouths and we disregard what comes out of other people's mouths? The people we believe or we choose to believe are the ones who have, gone deep into their content. They have become authoritative about what they are saying. And also, those are the ones who have done all of the above two things to make sure what they are saying is presented in a manner that becomes effective and impactful. Also, how can you do your research? Today, it's very easy to do research. Knowingly know more is a term that I often use with people that I talk about communication with. Listen to the podcasts about things that interest you, about topics that are outside of what you generally know. Let's imagine that you're going to go and speak to a principal about starting a club in school where you want to save the whales. Now, it is important that you have researched it. It is important that you speak to the principal about the fact that why is this a problem? What is it that you're going to do as a community to work against it? And how are you going to align it to larger goals of the school? Look at a working professional on the other hand. Let's assume you've applied for a job and you're going in for a job with someone who is sort of working in the area of environment and sustainability, or somebody in the area of economics. If you've heard popular podcasts talking about what is in trend, what are recent problems, what are some of the statistics that you can quote, all of this adds to how confident you appear and how much you know about your subject. The second is watch informative videos. We are always on our screens today, and all we're doing is looking at TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, or whatever the new thing is that is cool to look at, right? What if some part of that screen time is spent on informative videos? And there's no rule book about what is informative. Whatever catches your fancy, whatever you want to know more about. It could be the economy, it could be politics, it could be world affairs, it could be personalities, it could be any burning issue, it could be climate change. So watch those videos to know more than you do. Today, consuming content has actually become so easy that there is no excuse for anyone to be underinformed, misinformed, or ill informed. Okay? Also, read about people that interest you. Go beyond, these so-called celebrities. Read about people that are doing meaningful work. Read about people who are chasing passionate causes. Read about people who are making their mark in this world in different ways, in whatever area of interest you have. Also, on social media, it's great to follow your friends, your family, people you want to, all these celebrities, but also follow eminent people who are making a difference in your area of interest. That allows you to listen to what is happening in the world, understand what is going on in terms of policies, laws, changes, discussions, debates, and this is how you build your own knowledge bank. All of these are easy to do, but sometimes it takes someone to tell you to do those, and sometimes you consciously pick those up in presentations in things like this. Moving on, dig deep. I have been saying this and I continue to say this. One of the biggest problems with us today is that because we are consuming so much of content that is not really, um, I wouldn't say it's worthless, but I would say it's a lot of content which is on the periphery of what really needs to be known to be successful. So it's very important to dig deep. This is so that we understand roles and responsibilities within whatever it is that we are chasing after, and also how we make ourselves a very good fit. So if you want to become the head boy of your school or the head girl of your school, then you have to understand that how you must do all of this to present yourself as an irresistible candidate to get chosen. Similarly, if you're in the job market, because I understand this is a mixed group of people, so I'm giving examples of both people in the workforce as well as students. In the workforce, you're looking at that next promotion, you're looking at that next interview, you're looking at that next good assignment, you're looking to become the team lead. You have to present yourself to make yourself a good fit. And the way you make yourself a good fit is by doing all of the above things that we've talked about: how you appear, how you look, how much you know, how deep you dig, how you present that information, and how willing you are to make yourself show as the best choice possible that is available to the person making the choice. When we started, I spoke a little bit about punctuality, and I spoke about the fact that let's respect the time of the people who have shown up on time. And this is really, really, really important, and one of the biggest markers of people who are going to be successful versus people who are going to have to chase success very hard. Okay? Why is it that we need to be punctual? Since we were children, we've always been told be punctual, be on time, don't be late. But what is the theory about being punctual? Why must an individual be punctual? One, it showcases your own integrity. Two, it showcases you are dependable. So if you are dependable on showing up on time, you will be dependable for all the roles and responsibilities that will be given to you. It builds your own self confidence. Now, just imagine if I was logging in now, 20 minutes later, I would have to start by saying, I'm so sorry to be late for this webinar. What does that do? It puts me at a disadvantage, and I have to start from a position of disadvantage, and then I have to slowly build up to first coming to neutral ground, and then slowly, I have to gain your confidence to come up and become someone who you people want to listen to, respect, and kind of imbibe what I'm saying. So it works well for your own self to be punctual. It shapes and exposes your discipline. Again, what does being punctual show? It shows work ethic. It shows the fact that I respect time. I respect the fact that you have taken time out of your busy schedules to show up. So I have no business being late. Similarly, when you go and interact with, say, the principal of your school, if your meeting is at 12 noon, it is always better to be standing outside that door at 11:50 versus reaching at 12:05. A lot of students say, what will happen if I'm 2 minutes late? What will happen if I'm 3 minutes late? The earth does not fall. But what does happen is the perception about you changes. And then, if there are two people with exactly the same marks, credentials, academics, and the committee has to choose one person, believe me, the person who showed up before time will be the one chosen versus the person who showed up 2 minutes late in every selection. And like I said before, it is the key to success. It's something that is easy to do. It's something that we don't think much about. But if we do it subconsciously, we're already on the road to success. How do we do this? A lot of students come back and say, oh, but we have so much to do. Oh, but there's not enough time. Oh, but there are so many distractions. Discipline is the way to do it. And what are some of the ways you can do this for yourself? Again, simple things to do that if you adopt, it will definitely make you a very powerful version of yourself. One, maintain a to-do list and strike things off the to-do list. Two, maintain a diary which talks about things you have to do today, tomorrow, day after, and 6 months from now. Three, put up a chart of tasks in your room. This allows you to consciously keep reminding yourself of what is pending, and so you don't go away from that and you keep plodding along and completing those tasks. 4, set an alarm. Yes, we are all busy. Yes, we are all distracted. Yes, we all are trying to do too many things in one day. Put that alarm to remind yourself. You have all the tools possible today. 5, set a reminder system. So if you find that you're often not completing your tasks, if you find you're shutting off alarms and not responding to them, set up a buddy system, set up a reminder system. Again, this could be a friend, this could be a parent, this could be a teacher, this could be a mentor, it could be anyone. But realize the need that this is missing from your life and set the system up. And lastly, make a calendar. It is very, very important to prioritize things. And it's only when we prioritize do we complete tasks on time. You know, a lot of this is common sense. And a lot of this is things we've always heard in the past, in our periphery. It's always around. However, hearing them, seeing them, and listening to them like this makes an impact. So I really want all of you to start following these tips and tricks, which are so small, but which all lead to making a really powerful brand you. So this was all the mechanics of how do you become successful. I'm now going to share something, what I call a hidden sort of tool for success, which I'm going to share with you next. And I'm going to show you some images. And any one of you who wants to respond to the question that I asked, just unmute yourself and answer that question. So on the screen are 3 little pigs, 3 musketeers, and 3 idiots. On the next screen is get, set, go, ho, 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 hip, hip, hurrah. On the next screen is a hat trick, 3 pointers in basketball, and 3 strikes in baseball. Can anyone see any commonality in all that I showed you right now? What was the pattern? Anyone is free to unmute because I can't see your screens. I'm looking at the presentation, but anyone is free to unmute and please answer this if you can.
We don't want a quiet class. Anything that comes to your mind.
3 is common in every image, like 3 pigs, 3 idiots, 3 strikes, 3 pointers.
3 is a common word, I think.
You are
3 words. 3 words.
You are absolutely right. So we've talked about how do you build brand you physically. We've talked about how do you build brand you from practices. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about how do you build brand you through communication. And one of the most powerful tools we have in our repertoire for good, effective communication is the power of 3. Now let me explain this. If you notice, this power of 3 has been used over ages and is all around us. So now that you know that I'm going to talk about power of 3, can someone give me more examples of power of 3? Just unmute yourself and give me some examples. Think about things that are all around you actually.
Ma'am, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh.
Absolutely. Someone else? How many colors does the red light have?
3.
Yeah? How many meals do we eat in a day?
3.
3.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right?
And I'm also a blood, sweat, and tears.
Sorry?
Ma'am, blood, sweat, and tears.
Blood, sweat, and tears. Great quote. Also, Gandhiji had how many monkeys?
3.
3.
Right?
Even
So
our national flag has also 3 colors.
Absolutely. So can you see?
And also, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Correct. So can you see how this concept of three is all around us? And it's something we don't think about, but it is something that is used in communication through the ages right from the very beginning. And let me explain to you why. It's not just my theory that is there. The human brain actually remembers information more effectively when it is presented in threes. It is easier for the brain to map, retain, and recall information when it is presented to it in threes. That is the scientific reason why a lot of the popular concepts that are used to run this whole world of ours is always done in three. There are three parts of every communication. There is always a beginning, there is always a middle, and there is always an end. Now, think about any fairy tale you have known, think about any story that you have known. Doesn't it always have a beginning once upon a time, then the middle, which talks about what actually happens, and the end, and they lived happily ever after? So, every story, and what really is communication? Communication is the story that you tell about yourself when you're talking about yourself. So, the beginning is what establishes your impression. This is where how you are dressed, what time you reach, how when you meet someone for the first time, how you greet them. I mean, there's so much. So, in this workshop, I could only deal with so much, but this one can go so deep into each of this. The middle is what I have been talking about: preparing well, dig deep, understand more, read more, synthesize more, formulate your opinion more, so that when you talk, it is an informed opinion. And what is the end? The end is, we'll come to it towards the end of this, but the end is when you close it effectively, when you've made that good impression, and when you become the irresistible person in the whole room. So, some of you have talked about popular quotes and concepts, but I'm going to share some more popular quotes. I came, I saw, I conquered. Can you see the power of three? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The three concept is used in this very, very popular Abraham Lincoln quote. So, what happens when you use the power of three? It results in more confidence. It is a rationale of what you're saying, why you're saying, how effective it becomes. And it is sound communication. It is complete communication. It has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end. When I began this presentation, I told you all that I'm going to deal with A, B, and C. It was because after the third thing that I speak about, D, E, F, you will lose interest, because that's how our brain is wired. So it's important right at the beginning to establish what you're going to do within the segment of three. Remember this always. The body or subject matter is when you go deeper into the subject, when you make yourself so authoritative on the subject that the people listening to you have no option but to be pulled into your conversation. And there are other ways of making people listen to you. The way you speak, the tone is more important than actually what you're saying. Your tonality is so very important. Do you know it takes the first 7 seconds of when a new person sees you to make an impression about you? It's just the first 7 seconds. And that's what makes or breaks the rest of the interaction. And the conclusion is when we have been able to get what we want out of a conversation. So it could be different things at different times. It could be getting selected as class captain. It could be getting permission to do fundraising. It could be asking somebody to come and participate in a webinar. It could be for the working people, it could be asking for leave. It could be applying for a promotion. It could be getting along with your manager. So we are actually communicating and creating our own brand in everything that we are doing, right from when we make ourselves appear to the outside world. Even at home, even within families, don't you see that between siblings, perceptions are created? This one is a hard worker, but this one doesn't like to work hard but has the brains. This one is smart, but this one is a hard worker. This one is interested in health, but my other child is very lazy. What is that? It is all how you have conveyed yourself and communicated about yourself to the world around you. Lastly, as I'm conscious of the time and I want to have a good question and answer session available, I'm going to talk about something very important, which is mind your manners for a great brand you. There is nothing worse than being brash. There is nothing worse than being arrogant. And there is nothing worse than being rude. Believe you me, even today, the thank you, the please, the excuse me, I'm sorry, good morning, may I, could I, should I, all does its magic. And it's sad that sometimes we forget that. And it's such a simple thing that if we remember, it just adds those pearls to whatever it is that we are trying to do. Here, I want to clarify that confidence is very important. Because if you seem underconfident and if you appear underconfident, then everyone else will believe that about you also. However, if you are overconfident and arrogant, then people stop responding to you. So it's very important to tread that line between confidence and overconfidence, politeness and arrogance, and, affability and disrespect. So always, always remember the thank yous, the sorries, the please, excuse me, it was great to speak with you, it was lovely to connect with you. All these things just complete the communication very effectively and leaves you as a brand that should be cherished, that you want to stay in touch with, and you want to nurture your relationship further. With this, I come to the end of the presentation, but now I'm very happy to take questions and talk more about all that we have discussed today. And I hope you found it useful, because I've tried to give you a mix of things that are easily done, practices and techniques that you should adopt, and also the theory and the higher thinking behind becoming a good, effective brand in this world. So thank you.